What's happening? Big shout out to everybody. Thank you for joining in. So, hey, album is out on all digital platforms. Hate motivates. If you got somebody hating in your life, understand the concept and the dynamic of that, right? In order for somebody to hate you or hate something that you may be doing, and sometimes in a jealousy format, they have to admire something about you in order to hate it because it's a deficit in themselves. So in this album, I talk about hate motivates. Basically, let it be the thing that's going to fuel you to be successful. A lot of drivers, a lot of sports, a lot of people that are successful have these moments and they do it. So I want you to do it on a microcosmic level in your life. Because me, myself, we're not as big as like, say, Lewis Hamilton, Denzel Washington, damn, any of these other big stars, Robert De Niro, you know what I'm saying? We're not as big as them on that level, but they go through the same thing. So if you go through that in your life, just use that. Like I said, you can stream it, YouTube Music, Spotify, iTunes, all digital platforms. But let's get into the main reason why we're here today. And we're here today partially because I put out a video about Sebastian Vettel speaking up on his behalf about he wasn't going to go to the Russian GP, right? For his own reasons, valid reasons, personal reasons that he felt was not right. I got a lot of comments in the section that were not opposed to what he was saying, but were discrediting his motive or his intent, his standing up, as maybe it was something that really wasn't excuse me, really wasn't that like heartfelt. Like, why is he getting so much credit for doing something that they inevitably were going to do anyway? And that's part of what I'm going to try to address here. Were they? But we're not going to get too deep in politics because I'm not CNN. I'm not some regular news channel. Those guys do a far better job in that than I do. But politics are involved in sports. And we're right now talking about motorsports as far as Formula One. So I used that last video to tee up. And if you know about T-ball, you put the tee up, and that's not all that comes. The comes next is the ball, so the bat can smash it out of the park. And you should know me a little bit better, but if you don't, welcome to the channel. I did see some of my subscribers, my Wolfpack fam, and they're telling you all that when I do things like call Max Verstappen or, you know what I'm saying, Romeo, that it's a running joke. It's something that I do here on the channel. Now, there are two drivers' names that I'm definitely, like, some people don't even pronounce Daniel Ricciardo's name, and I'm like really trying to get his last name correct on the pronunciation because it's not Ricardo, you know what I'm saying? And the other two, the newest rookie driver for Alfa Romeo, and then the driver for AlphaTauri, which is Sonoda, I believe. But the other driver, I'm still working on his name. But yes, I can't pronounce these names. I do work to try to make sure I correctly pronounce names, but it's a running joke, and I really don't give a shit what you say. You get in there and do what you do. So, as far as drivers that have taken stances, and my apologies for my throat, I just ate some wonderful grapes, and for some reason when I eat them, I get a little choked up. But as far as drivers taking stance in the most recent times, we know Vettel stood up for that. We know Lance Stroll recently said something about the bull crap that took place in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, right? And now we have Vettel speaking up on the Russian GP, and then follows later Formula One issues a statement, which you can see partially below, that they're not going to go. So what I'm going to talk about are other things that have happened within Formula One's time lineage that maybe did they cancel other GPs for said reasons. And I'm going to first stand up and say, as a United States citizen, as somebody who's taken the ultimate task of a citizen by defending his or her country, because I am a veteran, that the U.S. is not absolved, nor do I ignore the things that have taken place in my country that are unacceptable, to the point that I feel maybe Formula One should have canceled Grand Prix then within this country, as well as other countries. And we're just going to briefly go over some things that I see, and these are my personal perspective. So if you want to attack me, you're free to do that. I respond well to that anyway. But I would prefer that the comment section be a place or a table that we can bring open dialogue. You could teach me some things. I might bring some things to view that you don't know. And we can have a community of ideas that helps us birth better ideas and perspectives that brings us closer together as we live in different countries, come from different backgrounds. All right. Like or love different things. That is really what I want here on this channel. And of course, we're going to cover more from the one I'm trying to plan ahead. So if you want, I will try to be here for testing next week going into Bahrain, which is something else we're going to talk about. Right. Because Bahrain is following some pretty critical events within that area as well. So let's go ahead and get into this. First thing up is going to be the United States. Now, we're not going to cover everything that's happened in the United States, but I'm going to cover some things that I feel that the majority of the world probably will know. And if you can't, it'll be easily for you to reference these things in order to look at dates, times, situations, circumstances to get more comfortable with them. And you do the same thing in the comment section. If you want me to know about a historical event that took place maybe around the same similar GP or a time frame of a GP, do that. I mean, I'm up to learn. So let's go ahead and get into this right here, because we're going to use some references so we can go ahead and bring up the chart. Now, understand, like we know, like references should be solid, but maybe some things do have variations in there, and I understand that. But with that being said, we're going to do our best to follow me along here. So the United States, right? We know lynching. And I don't know why people want to say, oh, why do you want to touch it? Because it's something that happened. Like, is that not something that took place that was horrible, as well as the Holocaust, as well as many other events? So in the United States, lynching was something that took place like from the 1800s on up until the present day in time, documented. All right. So with that being said, with a country that has been participating, whether on a large level or a smaller level, to ending lives senselessly because of hate, why would Formula One continue to still come here? Right? And this is something that I'm going to address what my perspective and what my opinion is on that. Why? But let's go into some topics that are a little bit more honed in so you could do a little bit more acute research. Let's talk about Dr. Martin Luther King, assassinated. Now, he was assassinated, I believe, 68. All right. April 68, according to my notes. So if we go over here, April 68, right? Let's go ahead and back out of here. Yeah, let's back out of here. Let's go to the main list. April 68, we're going to go down to the United States of America. Now we see right here the United States Grand Prix, 42 of those within this year's time span. And 1968 would fall about in this time frame right here for 59 to 80. So we're going to go in this time frame. We're going to enter this, right? Now, let's see if Formula One or the United States canceled GP or Formula One GP in the lieu of an iconic person fighting for human rights, civil rights, people's rights, had been assassinated and killed. So we'll scroll on down here because they will have the reports, and we'll see if one took place in 1968. And if we scroll down, we see right here that Jackie Stewart and the Matra Ford, the report is they had one in 1968, October 68. So October 68, Martin Luther King was killed in April, murdered in April. That would follow that date, right? So why did they hold a GP? Well, we could say, well, it was months away. It was months off from happening. Okay, so if we say that, cool. Maybe it was months off from happening, and they just felt like, it had been enough time since a person who was fighting for human rights that had been assassinated by somebody trying to stop the progression of people being treated equally. Enough time passed that we should be able to go ahead and have a race there. All right. Okay. Not cool, but okay. So then we have Malcolm X, 1965, right? So we'll scroll up right here, 1965, Graham Hill, the report. So if they have a report, then they held a race. They held a race October. Malcolm was assassinated in 1965 of February. So at the top of the year, that would mean that this race followed that. So still they had a race. Now, given that's a time span between those months, but still within those months, we have February and April within different years of two people being murdered, fighting for equal rights, fighting for, humans to be treated equally because black people in America were being murdered just for game, like it was a hunt, like a deer, hung in trees, beaten in the streets, beaten with sticks from police authorities that are supposed to protect the public, allowed for dogs to use their legs and their bodies as chew toys. All right. Fighting for the fact that this should not be. He's murdered, but Formula One still says we can still have a race in that year within months away. Okay. So let's go to John F. Kennedy, assassinated in 63. All right. Now, 63, John F. Kennedy, you know, he's not black. He's white. He's still an American. He's a human. Right. So I'm including that. Like, this is not just all about black people. It's not all about white people. It's not all about, African people. It's not all about Europeans. All that. It's about people that are being mistreated or situations that are going on that are taking people's lives. And if this is happening, why is Formula One then going into these places? And like I said, don't attack me. If you want to school me up, that's fine. The comment sections below, do that. That's what we're here for. So Kennedy in 63 was assassinated. Graham, again, he was on the street, right? Hill was on the street. We got a report right here, 63. They held it October 6th. Kennedy was killed. 1963 in November. So we could say, like, okay, they had the race, October, November, a month later, not 2 months, a month later, Kennedy was killed. So, it's like they didn't know that was going to happen. They didn't know it was going to happen. But what else was also going on in the country at that point in time? Like, a group of people were still being murdered or beaten, like scared for their lives to go out, walk around, still working on school, segregation, all this other stuff, right? Why would Formula One continue to come here? Fred Hamilton, assassinated by the FBI, 1969. So now we're getting a little bit closer, right? We're getting a little closer. So 69, Lotus Ford, a report here in 69. What's the date? October 5th, 1969. Fred Hamilton was assassinated in December. So then again, there we could say it was 2 months before. They didn't know it was going to happen. But I mean, several things had already taken place before then, right? For years now, things that are not right, that are horrible, human people not being treated correctly, are still happening in this country that you've obviously taken 40 plus races in. All right, minus some of the ones that are not attributing to Formula One as a product as we know it. So let's come on down to like more recent. How about the Capitol attack? Now, I'm a military man, so I'm going to say that action alone was an act of war on the United States of America. Did we have a race in that year? 2021 is when that happened. Yeah, we had a race in that year. Max Verstappen was the champion, was named the champion of 2021. We're not going to get into that. It's not that video. The insurrection took place in January, so we could say that that's months later. But think about it. Months later, you're talking about an event where a group of people literally committed an act of war on the country, Confederate flags, breaking out the Capitol, people died. So you're still rewarding this country, the United States of America, with the product of Formula One, which is supposed to be supposedly by Formula One to unite people, right? We race together. That's what they're saying. We race together. Well, what's going on? All right, so cool. So now we have George Floyd. We have Ahmaud Arbery. We have Breonna Taylor. So George Floyd was taken from us May 2020. Did we have a race May 2020? No, we did not. It was not held here. For what reasons? We can look into that. Then we had also Ahmaud Arbery, 2020. Breonna Taylor, 2020. So I have to wonder, not held in 2020. Did they then decide that this was not the time for us to take a race there with everything that was going on? Maybe, maybe not. Or was it a logistics thing? Was it just something that was purely logistics like? So look into those things, do your history and research. You let me know what was going on in 2020, which I just told you a few things that were happening. There are a few more people missing off that list. Then from 2008 to 2011, not held. That's the United States. So in my opinion, did the United States deserve to have Formula One come in light of them canceling the Russian GP, if that is said to be, that it is not right what's going on with the people in the country? Should they have been coming to the United States of America? In my opinion, I'm going to say no. If that is the case, if it's strictly about them supporting the fact that people and human rights should be respected, and we don't want to reward or be a part of anybody or country or bring our product into an environment that is not progressive in that way. So we're going to back out of the U.S., right? We're going to come out of the U.S. We're going to go ahead, go to Saudi. We're talking about Saudi Arabia. We're talking about Iraq, Iran, Yemen, Afghan, Pakistan. All of these areas are within that same area. Like if you look at Emirates, it sits in a little island and it's surrounded by all of these areas. So I'm including all of that, right? We're going right into the heart of these and all of these surrounding areas that are taking place. But up here, if you see, we do have the Saudi Arabia GP, right? Right there. Not many, 2021. And then we will come to the United Arab Emirates. And we got, of course, the Abu Dhabi, which, that's been a hot topic from 2009 to 2021. Well, we already know that a big, transportation situation happened where we had a big pirating situation going on. All right. We even got a movie about it, right? Pirating situations where these people are going on these ships, stealing, raiding, killing. We had a big pirate situation. And that went on to a whole stint from, I believe, I want to say 2009 to maybe it still might be happening presently, but I know 2016. So we do know that races have taken place there because right there we have the state of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix 2009 going all up to present date of 2021. We're just starting 2022. So with that being said, with a country that has that going on, is that something that you want to go into? Well, I guess you could say, well, since, it's people, individuals and clusters that are doing wrong, not so much a country attached to it, it should still be cool for us to go in there. It's not really the country itself as far as a governmental standpoint or an authority or a police or any agency that's attached that's supposed to be supporting the people. So we can still kind of go in there. All right. So what about the Civil War, Yemen Civil War 2015, which was in March, right? So we will still use the United Arab Emirates because there are a couple of other GPs in here that are in that area. You have Qatar, and then you also have where's the other one? You have Saudi Arabia, okay? So we will use, we could use Qatar, but as you see, that's 2021 doesn't go back far enough. Saudi Arabia 2021 doesn't go back far enough, or at least provide us enough historical data here. So we will stick to the big daddy of them all right here, Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, okay? So right here, we will click into that. We will go down to the reports. We will look into some said dates and see what may have or what did not take place. So right there, the Yemen Civil War is 2015. Right there, Nico report. November 2015. So that happened. So what are we talking about? March, April. So we're talking about months following that. We talk about bombs. We're not talking about something that was small. Like the Yemen Civil War wasn't like something that people just were, in there fighting with hands. Like this was a pretty big deal. Yet Formula One still had a GP in Abu Dhabi. Not in Yemen, but still not far in geographically speaking. So then let's talk about this. All right. Let's get into women's rights because I think women's rights have been violated for generations there. Like generations. Still now. So we have a Saudi woman. This happened January, I think time frame is 2021. Saudi woman is murdered by her brothers and left in the desert, all for creating a Snapchat, a social media platform. So January 26th, let's go with that date. And 2021, boom. Well, yeah, we know that, right? Because Max Verstappen, he won the race 2021. We know this. Okay. How about this? 12 years old. That's a kid. That's still like baby. 12 years old is nothing. You have not even experienced life completely at 12. An Iranian woman, girl, baby, a kid. She ain't even a woman yet. Is being forced to marry, I believe it was her cousin. Forced to marry her cousin at 12 years old in this country. This is the type of stuff that's going on. She flees for her safety because she's being physically, sexually, mentally abused. But a kid is not even a teenager, not even 18 yet, trying to survive on her own here and there wasn't going well for her. So she returned back home. Returning back home, she is then tied down, held, and beheaded. 17 years old. Beheaded. Called an honor killing. That's bullshit. Ain't no honor in that. While the man, the husband, parades around the town with a knife in one hand, a machete in one hand, and her head in his other hand, and he is being celebrated. Well, shit. This happened February 2022. Are we going to be in Bahrain next week for testing? They not going to cancel that? That's not significant enough? Because it's not the only time it's happened. So we'll be in Bahrain for testing for 3 days. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. F1 still going. Think about that. So I thought, is Formula One about people? Or maybe about something else? Because if you're about people, you know this has been going on for a long, long time, among other things. Why are you taking races in there? Matter of fact, this is one of the most premier races, premier destinations for Formula One. Outside of Monaco. It's up there. The championship takes place there. But it's still going. Okay. So then we got South Africa, right? Let's go ahead and go with South Africa. Let's back out of here. Because that, to me, that's a very emotional situation, right? This is not an isolated situation. This is sprinkled throughout history and throughout that country. It's just sprinkled happening on levels that we don't even get reports on. But Formula One's still going in there. So let's go to South Africa. Not too far up the list right here. Michael Jordan, 23 GPs listed here. Let's go on to South Africa. So we already know the blood diamond situation. We know that. But yet, Formula One's still been there, right? Okay, Formula One's still been there. But let's hone in like we did on the others on some specific dates and look and see if maybe some GPs were canceled around dates that maybe historical things that are easily to reference may have happened. So we got the border war stemming from 1966 to so-called 1990, August time frame. So that's a big time frame, right? 66 to 90. Now, remember, these areas in the pink are not what they call connected to the actual Formula One product. The GPs and races, but not Formula One as we know it, are maybe not connected at all, but they're here. So we'll go 66 right here, which Mike Spence was in that. And then if we come down, everything that's not pink should be attached to Formula One under the Formula One product. Well, shit, what do we got here? We got 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, and on up. So they still went in there, although this was happening, whether it was on a big magnitude or a kind of like it watered down a little bit, just still ongoing politically, working out some debates. They still went in there, which that was, a lot of people died, thousands. I think under 3,000 people documented, maybe or somewhere in there, died during this whole situation. All right. And I don't care if it's one person dying, it's one's too many in the situation, just one's too many. All right. So let's go to, how about an iconic figure? Nelson Mandela? He's pretty up there, right? He's pretty big. Although past, but pretty big, right? So he was incarcerated wrongly, 1962, August 5th. So we go 62, Graham Hill. Good damn gracious, Graham. Burning it up. Did they have a GP there? Yep. 62. Right there. So they didn't cancel that race, while somebody was, incorrectly and wrongly incarcerated for over 2 decades. Over 2 decades, he was incarcerated. All right. So with that being said, we also have Ukraine, Russia. So we already know that they have canceled that situation, or though that GP But was it for the people? I'm going to say this. I believe it was for the product. And I think it's product over people. I think Formula One is product over people. What did they do this season? They said they're moving away from kneeling. We want to do have a more positive spin. What's not positive about kneeling? Kneeling is like something that only became negative after Colin Kaepernick did it. A black football player in America decided to take a knee to bring attention and awareness to unjust situations that were happening to black people in America. Advised under a veteran to do kneeling instead of sitting, which I agree with. Why do we kneel? Why is kneeling negative? I mean, when has it been negative? You kneel if a player's hurt on the field, you're hoping that they get back up. You kneel in front of kings or queens to pay respect. You kneel to propose to a significant other you want to enjoy the rest of your life with. Kneeling is not negative. Kneeling is negative when you're black or you don't fit the scheme that white owners in the football of NFL don't appreciate the boy that should be carrying the ball up and down the field or throwing it, scoring points and making them money. You don't do that shit. You don't kneel before an American flag that was created with your blood of your ancestors, hung your blood of your ancestors, a whole damn song in the United States, which even points out to racism within the song. He loses his career for that. So Formula One decides to get rid of kneeling, saying they want more positive on it. I think that was incorrect and wrong. That showed me right there, it's not about people, it's about product. At this point in time, kneeling is not the positive thing to do for us to go with the product. Like, to get those black fans in there to show we got some support, let them kneel. What happened the moment Lewis Hamilton wore a Say Her Name shirt for Breonna Taylor? Following that race, there was conversation about the fact he should not be able to wear those shirts anymore. But did Formula One say anything about that rainbow lid? Nope. Why? Well, you say something about that. A group of people that are deciding on their sexuality. Well, we got cancel culture now. Oh, Formula One wasn't gonna say nothing negative about that. Why? Because it's about the product, not about the people. And I believe that is why they're not going to the Russian GP. You have a war going on, right? Missiles dropping out of the sky. You got jets flying around. They don't want to risk taking Formula One in there and they can't get their drivers out safely. That's the product. I don't really think Formula One cares about the people. They have this whole thing that they're supposed to be, we race as one. Okay. When I read that statement, that second paragraph kind of told me that if some of this dies down and maybe these jets weren't all in the air and Scud missiles were bombing buildings with people, civilians in them, maybe we could still go. That's how I kind of saw it. I saw it like Formula One might consider still going to Rush GP. They get that money. That's my opinion. This is my opinion, my perspective, that these decisions are made about product, not people. All these other situations that have taken place in different countries on a horrible magnitude. I'm not dismissing any of them. I know I might not know all of them, but there are many reasons why Formula One, it wouldn't exist then. Think about the product. Would the product really survive if they took all of these situations to decide, we're not going to this country, we're not going to that country, we're not going to that country right now, we're not going to that country for a decade. Oh, we can't go here, can't go to Mexico. Oh, we can't go to Spain because it probably wouldn't be a product. Or would it? Is it possible to move, say, hey, we got to move here? That's a lot of money logistically to try to move an entire event that you've already planned, already done promotion, already done logistics training, already done logistics planning, decided where all this stuff is going to be, your clientele, your market, your ticket sales. They ain't moving all that. They're not doing that. It pained them to cancel the Russian GP. I promise you. And I don't think they were really worried about people like while like they're trying to put off, they were worried about people and numbers. The spinoff of people being treated right is media friendly to let us think they really care. When I don't think they do care about people, they care about product. It's my opinion. It's what I think. I know this is not a light subject. I know it's going to be a lot of controversy, a lot of disrespect in my comment section. Trust me, in my comment section, in comments that have been held for review, because I look at those maybe every 2 months. I've been called the N-word. I've been called blackie. I've been called a colored asshole. I've been called many racist things. Literally, like I've been called the N-word by people that didn't know me. I'm walking out of the gun range with my new 1911 I just finished sighting in, got it in my bag right there. A white car drives by, 3 individuals in it, see me, yell out the N-word. Don't know me for Adams, don't even know what I got in my bag. It's crazy. So we're gonna get on something a little bit more light. We don't always want to be dark, but I know this situation, this video might not be the best, and some of you might not. A lot of people might not have stuck with it. They might have clicked off because they don't want to hear it, because they don't want politics blended into their racing. What they love. They love Formula One. They don't want to hear about politics. They don't want to hear about people being mistreated. They don't want to hear about black people being beat. They don't want to hear about Ukrainians trying to escape, or Russian people doing this, or damn what's going on in Mexico with the mafia and they still got the cartels going on, or what's going on in South Africa or Africa. They don't want to hear about that. They want to use Formula One as an escape to get away from it and don't even pay attention to it at all. So I respect that. But then they take the time to leave a lengthy comment to tell me that. Cool. All right. But you still got the point. So with that being said, I will be here. New videos will be trying to be coming out every week. I will try to give you all an tentative schedule on what I'm going to be doing for testing next week, which we'll see if they cancel that in lieu of these things that have developed. But remember what I said. If it's not like a governmental situation or agency, or maybe the government is so-called attached to it, we can still go. I don't think they're going to cancel testing. So I appreciate you all. You know what I always say? Just build it. Peace.